Hi, Tribe. I just wanted to pop on today to share something that happened probably for the first time this way, and it's really helpful information because right now it seems like a theme in my life is breaking out of the matrix. Fascinating because the matrix thing actually is a real concept. That's how movies can serve us. Movies are disclosure about what's going on behind the scenes that we might not know or that they don't want to announce in a direct way, so they do it indirectly through movies. And so the matrix is real, as far as, like, there's 3D and there's 5D, and we're just going to call it the matrix. Is easy to get caught up in because it's kind of embedded in our culture and in our media, where they try to shape our beliefs and our reality. So it's interesting that I've been, ever since I did a double medicine journey, especially with psilocybin, which is mushrooms, it's all about rewiring your brain and your neural pathways, and so that you can make new positive patterns instead of the old default patterns that tend to get us in trouble, that are coming from our subconscious. And it allows us to override our culture and override our beliefs. It allows us to be more mindful when we're aware of our thought life, because most people, I would say, don't know that you create your reality through your thoughts. So it's quite a practice to become masterful at observing your thoughts and catching yourself when you start going down a negative pathway, because then you're just gonna basically end up creating those things or something close to it, or certainly just feel negative and not at your best, if anything else. So today, what happened that was really different, because I've been really tracking this and catching myself, and I imagine we all have this, but we might not all be aware of it, because I actually was not so aware of this. I consider myself a positive person. But it's always in our blind spots, right? And you don't even know you're doing it until you start seeing it and tracking it. So I know that I felt like I was, my parents were hard on me, growing up, which kind of maybe came forth in like being highly critical. And then we tend to, as children, embody that almost, so that we start doing it to ourselves because it's all we know. And so unraveling that, I've been able to catch myself being hard on myself and being like, wait a minute, no, that's not going to serve me. I am not going to beat myself up for that. That's just not helpful. And it's just super exciting to have that ability to catch oneself when you start going down a rabbit hole that it doesn't serve. And the one that showed up today was fear. So I was definitely out of my comfort zone this weekend. I did a festival on Saturday and an Earth Day festival on Sunday. They were both completely different than what I expected and didn't really sign up for what ended up happening. And so I was I made the choice to go with the flow and work with it and make the best of it, which I did. And I actually had a great time at both of them. The first one, well, maybe I won't go into that so much, but because the reason why I'm sharing that is that I had a very busy weekend that was out of my norm. It was super social, and this being out of my comfort zone thing kind of can bring up some fear. And so I noticed as I was waking up today and just kind of catching up with myself and like regrouping and grounding after all of that activity, is some fear, I think, was just lingering in there. It's almost like this kind of vague fear just hanging out, making me anxious for no reason, in a way. And I was like, you know what? That's not going to serve me. And so I'm going to override this fear and say what I choose, which is a positive life. Like the universe has my back. I'm in good hands. And I am doing my best in my life, in my evolution process. And I'm working with spirit or the universe, however you want to say it. And I'm not going to go into this fear space, because what my fear, almost like the fear uh, energy can do, is it'll say, oh, well, you need to think about this because, it's going to save you from making a mistake. You need to be aware. What if this happens? And, you can't just ignore this. It's so seductive. Um, and another one that's even worse is that fear energy will say, well, you're so intuitive and psychic that this energy is coming forward for a reason, and it's coming into your consciousness to kind of prepare you for what might be coming, because then you'll be able to manage it better. And it's like, you know what, that actually is bullshit. And so I kind of was like, gave it the bird today. I said, you know what, this is fear, period, doesn't work. It's, if we're going to be mindful and if we're going to be creating our reality as powerful creators, as opposed to falling into default and being unconscious about what we're doing because we don't even realize that we're doing it. It's just like this default program that we're operating from. So that's where the word mindfulness comes in. So I consciously overrode that fear lingering around and trying to get me, and I just said, F you, that fear doesn't work, period. I'm sorry. I'm going to create the reality I want with these situations. If you notice worry coming up or anxiety for any reason, you can just look it in the eye and say, I see you. I see you trying to get me. I see you trying to make me go into fear or anxiety, and it's not going to work. And you just let them have it. And then, but mainly put your energy into, this is how I want this to go. In this situation, this is the good energy I'm going to put on it. And you know what? I am safe, and I am going to be fine around these things because I'm not just a victim to random circumstances. So at any rate, I wanted to share that because it was really the first time I really caught the fear and sort of looked it in the eye and said, no, not going there. And I also was able to see those the ways that it tries to seduce me into thinking that, oh, it's in my best interest to think of these worst case scenarios, which doesn't serve, period. Doesn't serve me, and it's not going to serve anybody else. So anyway, hope that's helpful for you so that you can maybe start catching your thoughts too. And because that's how you break out of the matrix of the mind, which has been patterned by your upbringing and by culture, by media, by everything you're feeding your mind. So it's sort of key. It's really a key practice if you want to break out of the 3D matrix that is out there, which is not in our best interest and doesn't really lead to life. And I'm here to with the intention to empower you to take your life by the balls and say, this is how we're going to do this, and this is what we're going to create, because that's what creates it. Is you have to kind of demand it, command it, invoke it, feel it, embody it, and then it starts showing up that way in your life, in on the outside as well. Because I was getting stuck in the waiting mentality of, oh, well, I'm waiting for this money before I can really move forward, and oh, I'm just so ready to have my partner in my life, so we can really team up and really move forward. And in order for those things to show up, which they will, but to bring them closer to you in case you have those two things also that you're looking forward to, or you're anything you want to manifest, as you go into a feeling state as though you're already there, so that it exists in here already, So it can't help but not exist on the outside. It will bring it closer to you faster, and you'll manifest it quicker. But if you're going to always be reinforcing that you're waiting for it to show up, then you're just going to reinforce that you're going to continue to wait. So you have to reinforce that it's here now, and you feel it, and it's in your reality and your consciousness, like you embody it to the point where there's no choice but the universe has to have it show